From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your MTN Statewide News this Wednesday. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, a tough day on the Montana coronavirus scene. The state today reporting 4 new deaths related to COVID-19 and more than 180 new confirmed cases. The deaths include 3 Rosebud County residents and 1 Lewis and Clark County resident. As of noon, 110 Montana residents have died from COVID-related illness. As for the 183 new confirmed cases, 72 of those are in Yellowstone County. The Lewis and Clark County victim is also the first COVID-19 related death reported at the Montana State Hospital in Warm Springs. Today, the Department of Public Health and Human Services confirmed a hospital patient died Monday. The first COVID-19 case at the hospital was reported July 17th. Now, since then, 9 hospital employees and 8 patients have been infected. The state says the remaining 16 individuals have all recovered. Well, starting today, Wolf Point Public Schools are now closed after a student tests positive for COVID-19. All activities and games are canceled for the rest of the week. Doors will be closed for at least 1 week in order to sanitize every building. Public health officials are now performing contact tracing to notify anyone that the student may have had contact with. Well, another challenge to Montana's general election. The Trump campaign, along with national and state Republican groups, filed suit this morning to halt all mail ballots in Montana. The suit was filed in U.S. District Court in Helena. It asked a judge to block an August order from Governor Steve Bullock that allowed Montana counties to choose whether they could conduct the November 3rd election by mail. County election offices had asked Bullock for the order, saying they had concerns about being able to conduct an election with polling stations during the coronavirus pandemic. Now, since then, about 40 Montana counties have chosen all mail ballots. That means ballots would be mailed to all registered voters, and they could return them by mail or in person. The suit alleges that Montana does not have enough safeguards in place for all mail elections. Well, the Trump administration is now working to lift endangered species protections for gray wolves in the lower 48 states. This could be approved by the end of the year. Removing federal protections gives states the power to manage their own animal populations. According to the Fish and Wildlife Service, the wolf population did rebound over the last few decades. Numbers now exceed more than 5,000. Some experts and activists say the species will be at risk of slipping back toward extinction if the plan goes through. Well, as of last night, an active duty airman with Malmstrom Air Force Base is behind bars. According to court documents, Corey James Cannon admitted to paying a minor for sex twice. He had been charged with aggravated promotion of prostitution. Cannon admitted to soliciting the child for sex when the child was 16 years old. That individual is now 17. Cannon also provided the names of local girls who he has had sex with while they were under the age of consent. Cannon indicated he has also exchanged nude photographs with local children as well. Prosecutors request Cannon's bail be set at $100,000. Well, it's now time to check in on the weather scene. Good afternoon, Ed. It is hot and going to be windy.
Yeah, a lot of wind already east of the divide, Jeanelle. Let's take a look where we were yesterday. These were the daytime highs on Tuesday, and they were in the 70s to 80s across central and western Montana, mainly the 80s into the eastern plains. Current temperatures are already there, so that's only as of midday, and we'll continue to see those temperatures rise as we start getting later in the afternoon. The winds have become very strong across eastern Montana all the way to the Dakotas, and that's going to increase our fire risk with lower humidity. And with fire conditions on the rise, the temperatures will be on the rise off and on throughout the week as well. Take a closer look at the short-term and the extended forecast coming up.
All right, thanks so much, Ed. Well, President Trump and Joe Biden will both hold in-person campaign events on the same day for the first time since March 2nd. It's exactly 6 months ago. Both campaigns are highlighting their response to the police shooting in Wisconsin. Natalie Brandt has more details from the White House.
President Trump is headed to the battleground state of North Carolina for a campaign rally 61 days before the election.
This should never happen. A thing like this should never happen.
Tuesday in Kenosha, Wisconsin, the president visited businesses impacted by rioting following the police shooting of 29-year-old Jacob Blake.
Do you believe systemic racism is a problem in this country?
Well, you know, you just keep getting back to
the opposite subject. We should talk about the kind of violence that we've seen in Portland and here and other places. It's tremendous violence.
Supporters turned out to see the president and praised his focus on violence in the streets.
People were very afraid in Kenosha. Businesses were burned down. People were locking their doors in their houses, putting kids in basements, getting their hunting rifles out because they were scared for their life.
But some local leaders say the president's visit did not help.
The situation on the ground in Kenosha had been improving significantly over the past several days, and having the president come brought more attention to that situation. We also, unfortunately, didn't hear any condemnation of vigilante violence.
Both President Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden are out with new ads focusing on the nationwide protests, with each candidate blaming the other for the violence.
Criminals terrorize Kenosha. Joe Biden takes a knee.
The Trump campaign has a new ad out in Wisconsin trying to paint Biden as weak on crime. The Biden ad calls for people rioting and looting to be prosecuted while accusing President Trump of spreading fear.
I believe we'll be guided by the words of Pope John Paul II, words drawn from the scriptures. Be not afraid.
Biden plans to travel to Kenosha tomorrow. His campaign says he'll hold a community meeting to bring people together. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Now, that new Biden ad will air nationally on cable television as well as in local markets in Arizona, Florida, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. The Trump campaign is airing ads in Minnesota, Georgia, Florida, and North Carolina. Well, in Massachusetts, a member of the Kennedy family has lost a statewide election for the first time ever. Senator Ed Markey has successfully fended off a primary challenge from four-term Congressman Joe Kennedy III. Kennedy is the 39-year-old grandson of Robert F. Kennedy. Senator Markey is heavily favored to be reelected in November. And back here in Montana, a group of whitefish property owners want the city to change the name of the lake that they live on. Now, that petition asks the name of Lost Coon Lake to be changed to Lost Loon Lake. The 61-acre lake is located partially within city limits south of Whitefish. Court documents state the name has racist connotations and goes against the city's code of honoring and welcoming the diversity of all citizens and visitors. Well, ahead on your new news, many kids this school year are learning with the click of a mouse. We'll take you on a crash course on options for parents who are also working full-time. But first, Ed's in next with your statewide weather forecast. Don't go away.